Welcome back to Teen's Voice. I know that title hit a little too close to home for a lot of you. You're sitting there, staring at a pile of books, maybe a deadline is looming tomorrow, but your brain feels like it's filled with static. You want to care, but you just don't. That heavy, why bother feeling isn't laziness. It's burnout, exhaustion, or just the weight of being a teenager in a world that expects you to perform 24/7. So today, we aren't going to do the toxic positivity thing. I'm not going to tell you to find your passion or visualize success when you have zero motivation. Those words feel like insults. Instead, let's talk about the psychology of the slump and the 5 gritty, realistic strategies that actually work when your gas tank is empty. First, you have to stop waiting for the mood to strike. This is the biggest lie adults tell us, that motivation comes first, then action. Actually, neuroscience says the opposite. Action precedes motivation. You don't study because you feel motivated. You feel motivated because you start studying. It's like pushing a car that's in neutral. The first 2 inches are the hardest, but once it rolls, you can steer it. So, how do we push that car when you're exhausted? We use the 2-minute rule. Tell yourself you are not going to study. You are simply going to open your notebook and write 1 sentence, or solve 1 math problem, or read 1 paragraph. That's it. You have permission to stop after 2 minutes. What usually happens is that the barrier breaks. The hardest part, the starting, is over, and you'll often do 30 minutes just because you've already begun. But if you truly stop after 2 minutes, that's fine too. At least you moved the needle. The second strategy is to lower the bar until you can step over it. When motivation is 0, your perfectionism is the enemy. You might be avoiding studying because you think, if I don't get an A, what's the point? That all or nothing thinking paralyzes you. Instead, embrace the concept of strategic mediocrity. Give yourself permission to do a bad job. Seriously, write the ugly essay. Do the sloppy notes. Just do a C level of work today. Why? Because 0 studying equals an F. A bad study session equals a D or a C. A C is infinitely better than an F. When you take the pressure off to be perfect, the fear disappears, and suddenly the task doesn't look like a monster anymore. You aren't climbing Everest. You're just walking up a hill in the rain. It won't be pretty, but you'll get to the top. Third, let's talk about the environment, because your bedroom is likely sabotaging you. As Teen's Voice, I know that many of you study on your bed, surrounded by your phone, snacks, and video game controller. Your brain associates your bed with sleep and relaxation. When you try to study there, you get cognitive dissonance. Your brain is screaming sleep, while you're screaming algebra. That internal conflict drains your motivation instantly. The fix? Create a work zone. It doesn't have to be a desk. It could be the kitchen table, the floor of the hallway, or even a specific chair. But when you sit there, you do nothing except work. No scrolling, no eating. If you aren't studying, you leave the chair. This trains your brain like Pavlov's dog. Over time, just sitting in that spot triggers focus. Even if you felt dead inside 10 seconds before. Fourth, you need to hack your dopamine, the chemical that gives you the feeling of, yes, I want to do this. When you have 0 motivation, your dopamine is low. You can't force it, but you can gamify the pain. Use the just for 5 sprint. Set a timer for 5 minutes of intense focus, then give yourself a micro reward that isn't your phone. For example, study for 5 minutes, then do 3 jumping jacks. Study for 5 minutes, then eat 1 gummy bear. Study for 5 minutes, then draw a star on a piece of paper. This sounds childish, but your exhausted brain loves small, immediate wins. You are literally tricking your reptile brain into releasing a tiny squirt of dopamine for completing a micro goal. After 4 or 5 of these sprints, your engine warms up. You won't be jumping for joy, but you will be functional. Fifth, and this is the most important one for us teens specifically, stop the shame spiral. The reason you can't study right now might be because you are exhausted from feeling bad about not studying. You spent 3 hours scrolling TikTok, hating yourself for scrolling TikTok, but you didn't rest or work. You just suffered. That is the worst place to be. So, take a radical pause. If you truly have 0 motivation, Maybe the answer isn't to study. Maybe the answer is to sleep for 20 minutes. Maybe it's to eat a real meal. Maybe it's to text a friend. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Sometimes, studying means admitting that your mental health is in the red zone, and the most productive thing you can do is take a 60-minute break with no guilt. Set an alarm. Watch your show. Then, when the alarm rings, try the 2-minute rule. Look, life as a teenager right now is harder than it's ever been. You have the pressure of grades, social media, the future, and your own inner critic. Feeling zero motivation isn't a character flaw. It's a signal that you need a different approach. So here is your mission today. Do not try to study for an hour. That's a lie. Just open your book. Just write the date. Just do 2 minutes. And if you fail, if you close the book and cry, that's okay too. Try again tomorrow. You are not your grades, and you are not your lack of motivation. You are a human being trying to survive a system that rarely asks how you feel. Keep going, even if it's just one word at a time. This is Teen's Voice, and I've got your back. See you in the next video.